Hi, I'm Linda Lowe. I'm a Rotary Peace Fellow from 2016 to 2018 at the Duke-UNC Rotary Peace Center. And today I run a nonprofit called the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom in the US. And it's my pleasure to pass to my fellow Peace Fellow to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Linda. My name is María Clara Jaramillo. I am from Colombia, South America, and I am a professor at the University of the Javeriana University in Bogota. I am a lawyer by training, and I was a Peace Fellow at the Duke-UNC Rotary Peace Center from 2002 to 2004. So I was like the inaugural part of the inaugural class. It's an honor to be with Linda today, and it's been an honor to be a scholar and a Peace Fellow for all these years.
Wow, María Clara, so you were the original Peace Fellow cohort. Wow, that's amazing. And I came many years later through a different program, the Peace Fellowship at a different center. I was at Duke-UNC in the United States, and where were you?
I was at Duke-UNC in the United States
also.
Okay,
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest highlights that you remember from your time there?
Well, what I love the most, because actually I had a previous master's degree from Georgetown University in law, but for me, being a part of this cohort at Duke-UNC Peace Center was amazingly interesting, because we had a very close relationship to the Rotary community. And I always tell my students, when I tell them about the scholarship, is that this connection with actual people, with actual communities, makes all the difference in this scholarship.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that's probably maybe one thing that stayed consistent across the years, I'm guessing, is the feeling of deep community and connection locally, where the Peace Center is located, and then globally to this Rotary Peace Network. Yeah. I wonder what is different across our two experiences at the Peace Centers.
I think one thing that I feel it's different, and different for the better, is that the Rotary community across the world is much more sensitive and much more inclined to the peace issues. So they understand a lot more. When I was a scholar, they were like, peace was such a subject, like it was very far away. So they just feel it more closely, and they understand that peace, I'm reading a sentence by the Dalai Lama, that peace starts with each and every one of us.
Yeah, and I think maybe what might be different, I'm guessing, is the intersectionality. I think there's a wide understanding now that everything connects to peace. You know, if we have safe shelter, if we have water and sanitation, if we have education, that all leads to peace. Yeah, that's probably something different. Yeah. I know you and I have both stayed deeply connected to the Rotary Peace Fellow community, and you and I are both Rotarians.
Yes.
And we both work at the intersection of peace building, policy. I work in women's rights, women's protections, human rights. I work in anti-war, and I know it's all linked. So I'm curious, how much of what you're doing today do you think is informed by your Rotary Peace Fellowship experience?
Well, I think everything. Because what I do, I am a professor. I'm a full-time professor at the Jesuit University in Colombia, which is Universidad Javeriana. I am at the law school. But what my focus after the scholarship has been in this intersection with not only law, but how law connects with other fields, like with political science, with sociology, with all other subjects that are very, very important as lawyers, because sometimes lawyers believe that we live on the second floor. Like we don't we don't really care what the first floor is all about. So I think it's very important to bridge that gap and to really make lawyers think that there are some realities that we have to affect.
I love that. First floor, second floor. We're all on the same floor. Yes. Maybe I'll answer that question too. How much of what I'm doing today, which is about disarmament, women's rights, human rights, is impacted by what I learned by the fellowship. I would say the Rotary Peace Fellowship, it really gave me 2 years to slow down and get into deep analysis with other peace practitioners who informed my thinking from their different lenses, from different parts of the world, from different subject areas, and really reinforced everything is connected. Every focus area that Rotary leans into, all the work that we do in the humanitarian fields and the global development fields, it all links to peace building.
Yes.
I think, before I came to be a Peace Fellow, I was working for the International Red Cross, responding to humanitarian disasters. And when you're in that space, you're constantly moving quickly all of the time because you're up against, urgency all of the time. And I think the Peace Fellowship gave me 2 years to really pause and go deep into thinking about systems and how everything is connected. And that is such a gift. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Another question we have here is, so as I said, both of us have built our careers at the intersection of peace, policy, women's leadership. What has the Rotary Peace Fellow Network given us professionally that we probably couldn't have built or developed on our own independently? Yeah. What about for you?
I think I was talking to Linda a little bit before we started to tape this conversation about how important it is for lawyers. If my master's degree was on education, and education is a social sciences, and for lawyers we are not taught how to understand the world, how to really listen to what is happening in that field where the law is going to be applied. So I think I would have never, I remember when I first entered the School of Education at UNC, I was thinking, God, how come we as lawyers, we are not trained to, in research methods, for example, we are not taught research methods, so we are not given the tools to really understand the world.
Yeah, that's interesting. Practical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my response is somewhat similar. The question was, what has the Rotary Peace Fellowship given us professionally that we couldn't have built on our own? I think for me, what the Rotary Peace Fellowship has given me is this practical ability to reach out into the Peace Fellow community and connect with a Peace, like I literally just met a Peace Fellow who lives in Pakistan, or a Peace Fellow who, is part of the Iranian diaspora, or a Peace Fellow who's currently practicing in Uganda, to reach out to them and say, look, what are you seeing really on the ground? How do I cut through the clutter of all these competing headlines, all the social media, all these conflicting narratives? I can reach out to a fellow human Peace Fellow and say, what's really happening on the ground? What are you seeing? What's doing? What are people doing? What does the community need? It's this immediacy to human connection. For me, that is the biggest value that the network has given me to inform my thinking and my actions. Yeah. We have a couple more questions. What do we wish someone had told us at the beginning of our fellowship about what the Rotary Peace Fellowship would make possible for us?
Well, when I talk about the fellowship, I only have great things to think about it. When I read that question, the first thing that came to my mind was that, I wish they had told me how great it was. And after 20 years, I can say that it keeps getting better, because every time, now I am a Rotarian, and last year was my first international convention. And I told my husband this morning, I am going to keep coming to these conventions every year, because this is like a vitamin for the soul, because it gives you like all the willingness to keep going. So this is what I would like. I mean, I think, I don't know if I would have believed it then, but then this is how I feel.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that you're so passionate. I think I wish what somebody had told me at the beginning of the Rotary Peace Fellowship was to take time to pause and take it all in and embrace it. You know, when you're a Rotary Peace Fellow, as in any other lots of types of work, you have a lot of deliverables, you're moving quickly to meet deadlines, to be in community. You know, we're invited with such intention and beauty to be speakers at different conferences. And I wish somebody had told me or reminded me, Linda, take a beat, take a breath, embrace it all, take time to let it sort of process through your body. I think that's the first thing I wish. And the second thing I wish someone would have told me, although they did in their own ways, was what a vast network the Rotary movement is. And like any large movement, you know, there's lots of diversity and also lots of different points of view. And I found my way in Rotary to show up in community, stay authentic to myself, and speak with my true voice. And sometimes it's not a voice that's saying the same thing as others, but it's still welcomed and respected nonetheless. And I think I wish somebody had told me that's okay. You can speak against like the wider narrative when you feel strongly about that. But since then, people have said that to me, so that's felt good.
I love to listen to you.
The final question we have here is, what would you say, María Clara, to a young woman today who's considering applying for a Rotary Peace Fellowship? And what would you say to the Rotarian who could sponsor her?
Well, I always tell my daughter, who is also a lawyer, I always tell her that if I had to live again, I would have done some more or less what I have done. But one thing I would do differently, and it's I would focus my life on defending the the women's rights. So because I do feel that the power of women to really connect and to really construct and build peace is enormous. So I would greatly sponsor that girl to apply for the scholarship, because I think this is the field.
I love what you're saying, María Clara. I mean, I run a nonprofit, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. In the U.S., we're all about women and feminist allies building peace together and bringing more women to the table at decision-making points that influence the whole process along the way, from policy to peace building. So I hear you 100%. In fact, I know you're from Colombia, and my organization, Women's International League, we have a large presence in Colombia as well. So we have to stay in touch.
Yes,
and talk
please,
about this more. Yeah. I think I'd say, you know, something similar. If a young woman was asking me today, should they apply for the fellowship? And in fact, this has happened a lot. I've had 2, 3, 4 people ask me about it. And what I'd say to that young woman, should I apply, is yes. 100% go for it, because Rotary needs your voice. Rotary needs, and they embrace lots of different perspectives. And so as a woman from whatever country you're from, you have a unique voice and unique skills and unique lived experience to bring to the Peace Fellowship. That's so important. So I would say go for it. Show up as your authentic self, and you will be part of a community that will do good things in this world towards peace building, towards increasing diversity, equity, access, all of these things to all of the basic rights that we need, and also beyond. What I'd say to the Rotarian is, first of all, thank you for considering supporting the Peace Fellow program. I mean, yes, do it. Support the Peace Fellows, because they are having direct impact in their local communities and around the world. And I hope that when you join Rotary, I hope that you feel like you're part of this global movement, working to build peace at all levels in your community, in your country, and globally.